Jungkook's sweet promise to Jimin makes the army cry. Jimin and Jungkook's closeness has always been a highlight of the army. Behind their jokes, laughter, and sweet moments that are often caught on camera, there is an emotional side that is rarely seen. Recently, the moment came again when Jungkook threw a simple but meaningful sentence to Jimin, a sweet promise that makes the army unable to resist Haru. On one occasion in the studio, after a long training session, Jimin looked exhausted. His voice was hoarse, his face lowered, and a weary expression he couldn't hide. That's when Jungkook approached, put his hand on Jimin's shoulder, then in a soft voice said, "Hyung, don't ever feel alone. I will always be by your side, whenever." The promise spoken without hesitation immediately touched Jimin's heart. He looked at Jungkook, was silent for a moment, then smiled slightly with his eyes glazed. Army who witnessed this moment through a short recording immediately flooded social media with comments full of emotion. Many admitted that they cried when they heard Jungkook's sincere words because they knew how deep the relationship between the two was. For the army, the phrase is not just sweet words. It is a symbol of friendship, support, and the bond that has been established for many years between the two. Jungkook not only comforts Jimin, but also confirms that their friendship is irreplaceable, even in the midst of the pressures of the entertainment industry, and personal life is not always easy. That sweet promise is now one of the most memorable moments for the army. At the same time, it is clear that Jimin and Jungkook's relationship is much deeper than just group mates. After the sweet promise was spoken, the atmosphere in the studio, which was originally full of rehearsal tones, turned silent. For a moment, Jimin looked at Jungkook with eyes that gleamed with tears that were about to fall. A slight smile formed on his face, although his body still looked exhausted. He nodded slowly, as if trying to strengthen his heart with simple but meaningful sentences from the sister who was always by his side. Shortly after, the moment was widely spread through pieces of video recorded by the staff. Armies around the world instantly filled the timeline with emotional reactions. Some wrote how the promise reminded them of BTS' long journey, from hard times to standing as a global icon. There were also those who claimed that they could not hold back the tears because they saw how Jungkook was so sincere in protecting and strengthening Jimin. That sentence is simple, but it feels very deep, one army officer wrote on Twitter. It was like hearing the promise of a true friend who would never leave. Jimin himself, after a moment of calming down, patted Jungkook's arm softly. With an almost trembling voice, he said, "You know, those words mean a lot to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm not strong enough, but with you here, I feel like I can survive." Jimin's remark made Jungkook smile broadly, to which he briefly replied, "Hyung, you've always been strong. I just want you to know, you're never alone." The emotional closeness made the entire studio room dissolve in an atmosphere full of emotion. Even some of the staff who were at the venue admitted that they were touched to see the sincere interaction between the two. On the other hand, Army began distributing various video edits and fan art with the theme of Jungkook's promise to Jimin. The words, "I will always be by your side," are trending on social media, describe how much influence that brief moment had on the hearts of millions of people around the world. That promise now belongs not only to Jimin, but also to the army. He became a symbol of sincerity, friendship, and a reminder that behind the glitter of the stage, there is such a deep human relationship between the members of BTS. Korean media began to highlight the moment after a video cut of Jungkook saying a sweet promise to Jimin went viral on international platforms. Article after article popping up with various titles that aroused the heart, starting from "Jungkook's sentence for Jimin made army cry" to "BTS prove their bond is unshakable." Even some of Korea's leading entertainment media emphasized that a small thing like a sentence can trigger a big emotional wave because it touches the most sincere side of the members' relationship. The global reaction was increasingly unstoppable. On Twitter, the hashtag Jungkook promise for Jimin immediately dominated the world's trending topics. Soldiers from various countries wrote how those words not only touched Jimin's heart, but also strengthened them personally. Some say that Jungkook's promise made them feel accompanied in difficult times, It's like saying that applies to every fan who is struggling with loneliness. Meanwhile, in Weverse, many ARMY left long comments full of tears. Hope Jimin truly realizes how valuable he is, not just to Jungkook, but to millions of people out there. A simple sentence is like a prayer, wrote one Japanese soldier. It's as if Jungkook is speaking on behalf of all of us who want to always be there for Jimin. Even the Western media is missing. Billboard and Rolling Stone alluded to the moment in a short article. This is a clear proof of how close the emotional connection between the members of BTS is. They considered that BTS's appeal was not solely in music, but in the bond of brotherhood that looked so real. Interestingly, many psychologists interviewed by Korean media considered that this emotional interaction between Jimin and Jungkook could have a positive effect on the fans. According to them, the words of sincere support from an idol are able to provide a sense of security and a new spirit of life for fans who are in difficult times. In the midst of this huge spotlight, Jimin finally wrote a short message on Weverse. He thanks the ARMY for always strengthening him and admits that sometimes he feels fragile, but he is grateful to have Jungkook and the other members by his side. The message made ARMY even more touched because it felt very honest and full of warmth. At the same time, Jungkook only wrote briefly, "No matter what happens, I will keep my promise." The sentence was simple, but again made the ARMY flood of tears. This moment is not just an interaction between two BTS members, it's also a reflection of BTS' long journey as a family. From the early days of trouble to now be on top of the world, the simple promise that came out of Jungkook's mouth has become a symbol of a bond that will never fade. Shortly after the moment went viral, ARMYs from different corners of the world began to move in their own way. On Twitter, Instagram, to TikTok, thousands of fan art, video edits, and even cover songs have sprung up with the theme of Jungkook's promise to Jimin. Many soldiers describe the emotional scene in the form of beautiful illustrations. There are also those who make a short animation as if the promise was immortalized in a short film. Most surprisingly, a large number of ARMY fanbase began to initiate a movement called Promise Project, where they invite fellow fans to write their own vows to their loved ones, then share it online with the hashtag #PromiseForJimin. This movement extends even beyond the boundaries of fandom. Many non-ARMY people took part, feeling inspired by Jungkook's honesty when he uttered his sweet promise. Some ARMYs are also organizing offline projects. In Seoul, city buses were filled with advertisements bearing Jungkook's promise with additional messages to Jimin and to everyone who needs strength. Something similar happened in Tokyo, New York, to Paris, where digital billboards displayed pieces of the words, proving that the moment has become a symbol of universal hope. Even more touching, many ARMY wrote letters to Jimin and Jungkook, then sent them through the official fanbase. The content varies, ranging from thanks, prayers, to personal stories of how Jungkook's sentences helped them through dark times. The letters were then compiled in the form of a digital book called Promise Kept, which quickly went viral among fans. This global movement ended up attracting the attention of the world's major media. CNN and the BBC reported that a simple sentence from BTS's Jungkook was able to spark a cross-country solidarity movement. Journalists called it a vivid example of how music and the personal relationships of artists with their fans can give rise to massive social forces. Behind all the excitement, Jimin and Jungkook themselves were reportedly moved to read all the ARMY's reactions. A HYB staffer even leaked that Jimin had shed tears when he saw a bus advertising project in Seoul, while Jungkook only smiled slightly as he said, "I didn't expect my words to go this far." And sure enough, that sentence is now no longer just Jungkook's personal promise to Jimin. Rather, it has turned into a symbol of warmth, strength, and friendship that anyone can feel.